Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 3 of Students of the Game, the #1 weekly podcast here at Lebanon Valley College. And I take a lot of pride in that number, whether it's true or not. It doesn't matter because I believe that it is. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, Mr. Overwatch himself, my roommate, our former Overwatch captain, Bdawg McDonnell. How are you doing today, Ben?
I'm doing great. How are you, Harold?
It's a lovely day, as one of our in-studio friends here, Plexios, says pretty commonly to me, it's a good day to have a good day. So I think that's a great way to start this one off. And I think the way I want to open this is asking you, since I did mention, former Overwatch captain, we don't have Overwatch anymore, and somehow we cut the second team you were also a part of. What are you doing now that you're not currently active as a player for Lebanon Valley?
For right now, I'm currently coaching Syracuse University as an assistant coach for their support players. I'm also just streaming, making content on Overwatch for right now.
Okay, so when did I know you just got into coaching pretty recently? How has that adjustment been, kind of transitioning from player to coach? I know you still play. But...
Yeah. Coaching is kind of like more fluid for me. I think I have a better third-person perspective on the game just because I've been coached myself, so I understand what to look for. It's been really helpful for myself to get coached and then do the coaching. I really much enjoy it. It's a good time.
That's great to hear. I know personally from my experience. Obviously, I started coaching when I was a freshman in high school. I started coaching Call of Duty, so I definitely get that. Something I did want to bring up first, honestly, is the new Overwatch system. Because later we'll talk more about you more in depth and all of that. But first, I want to get your thoughts on the new Overwatch ecosystem. So, if you want to, would you like to explain that new system first? If not, I have it written down.
Yeah, so OWCS is the newest competitive bracket system where it's going to be, I think it's 2 minors and then a major, 2 more minors, and then a finals or group stages.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really interesting because it's split up into regions too. I think it's NA, EMEA, and then Korea, I'm pretty sure.
I think Korea has its own region.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting too. The system that they run on is a lot different, at least region-wise. EMEA is normally just Europe, and that's like Europe and usually North Africa. But if I remember correctly, their EMEA system also incorporates the Middle East, which I thought was really interesting.
It does, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm actually really excited. All of my friends have been looking for teams like for Overwatch CS, and I think like realistically, it's a better competitive state. I'm excited to see all the pro players come back and play on different teams from either what they were originally on or whatever, because that's what they're all doing right now. They're all just trying to find a team that they mesh with. So it's a really exciting time for Overwatch.
Yeah, and it reminds me a lot of the old MLG system that COD used to do, if you've ever followed that. Essentially, it's the circuit, and I saw it was literally described as that. Also, another part that I really was intrigued by, DreamHack. Is there, obviously, Face It is the new system, but DreamHack is like essentially the place to watch the LAN of Overwatch. Was DreamHack prominent before this in Overwatch?
I don't believe so.
Because DreamHack has always been an interesting thing to me.
Mhm.
Because it's a culmination of all of these different types of games. Sometimes they'll host a Rainbow event. Sometimes they'll host COD. Sometimes they'll host Overwatch. And now it's like fully Overwatch. So, any thoughts? I mean, obviously you probably don't know a ton about DreamHack like myself. So
I'm kind of excited for the LAN to branch out besides just Overwatch, to be honest. I think the Overwatch League branded it quite literally just over Overwatch, and all the Overwatch players would be the ones to show up. So I think DreamHack kind of expanding that in a LAN center is really important for our game.
yeah, and I really like the system. I think it's just a really unique thing. We saw that move to branding and franchising in COD and Overwatch. I mean, obviously it was the Activision Blizzard thing. So I still don't understand the premise of that move. I'm surprised COD League is even still a thing, but
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know.
it's such a weird system to me.
It's bound to
Honestly,
fail.
it was, and COD League is somehow still succeeding, but they actually just cut their entire they had full-time observers, right?
Yep.
In-game observers, cut all of them.
Yep.
And I'm like, what was the point of that?
Yeah.
Like,
All the
I don't get
cuts
that.
this past, I think it was month, is really insane to me because they just announced Overwatch CS and they cut their observers, they cut their casters. So,
Like, oh yeah, I've been
yeah.
seeing a lot of people talking about So
Yeah.
specifically. Like, she's been
Yeah,
Overwatch
she was the
for
face of Overwatch competitive and they just kind of cut her. So,
yeah. I don't get that, man.
yeah.
I don't get moving away from the circuit system. Like, the circuit system has been incredible. It always has been. I understand the esports need to evolve, but I don't know. Like, that circuit system is just perfect. You get your stages, you get these open bracket teams. Like, in leagues like the NFL, the NBA, it's the reason that they work is because there's the broad appeal. They are a universal thing. Esports is not, I mean, it's universal, but it's not universal in the same way,
Yeah.
where there's only a small amount of talent. Esports has such a wide amount of talent, and it just makes no sense to ever have that franchising system, especially with, you've been around esports fans. You think they care about franchising?
Yeah.
No, they don't. Um, but yeah, I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about that. I know that system is probably pretty exciting, to be
For
honest.
sure.
So now I kind of want to take basically what the rest of most of this interview will be, just talking about you and how you've gotten here, what you've done here, all that sort of stuff. So let's go all the way back to the very beginning. How how did you get to basically how did you get to where you are today?
So I came to Lebanon Valley College my senior year of high school on a whim because like this is the only college I really applied to. But when I met Dave Shapiro here, the program director, it was really helpful because I like didn't know if I wanted to go here, and then I came down here and he's like, "You should definitely come here. Like
You should.
this is definitely the place for you." I was like, "Okay." So yeah, I originally was a console player. Was a 4.2 peak DPS player, and I was like, when I got here, I realized I had to switch to PC, which was a big transition for me. And yeah, I joined the Overwatch team. I started off as a diamond tank player, and then now I'm here. So yeah.
So, how did you even get into Overwatch to begin with? Because obviously, as you said, you came in pretty decent rank wise, despite it being on console. Where did you get your start in Overwatch? Not only just playing the game, but into competitive.
I think Overwatch was just kind of interesting to me. As I think I started playing competitively season 3 just with friends for fun. I only played a little bit of quick play, but as soon as I started playing, I kind of climbed quickly. So that's the reason I kind of like stuck with competitive. It was kind of natural to me. Um, but Overwatch in general was just kind of different from the games I've played previously. Like I was a big Black Ops 2 fan, Black Ops 3 fan, Destiny. Those were my big games. And Overwatch was just kind of different. I never played a hero shooter before, so I was like, oh, I'll give it a try, and I've been playing it for however long now. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been certainly a long time, and I actually, before we even get into the rest of it, I want to ask you about that transition from Overwatch to Overwatch 2. I'm aware they're essentially the same game, but how did that transition go? Not only for you, but for your team, and also just the system as a whole, the both the league and all of that.
So the end of Overwatch 1 for me was kind of like a critical turning point because I that's when I started getting coaching. Shout out my friend Paz, he's the goat. But I got coached from him, got up all my roles to masters on PC, done with Overwatch 1 competitive, went to Overwatch 2, and immediately found success because I think Overwatch 2 competitive system rewards single-handedly carrying a team, which is very different from Overwatch 1. You need everybody operating in Overwatch 1 uh, to win, and Overwatch 2 is kind of like, I can solo carry this game, and it's going to be easy. So in like regards to like myself, I found a lot more value because I can play for myself more. For a team environment, I think it's actually interesting because I feel like team coordination is very important, like learning how to rotate together. But you can also get a lot of individual value. So we had plays where we play for individuals on our team, and we'd win because playing for their value is extremely important on that team. In the wholeness of Overwatch 2 competitive, it's interesting. Um, Players are there's a lot of misinformation about how to play the game, and you could say it's a game, so like, might as well not
Yeah.
care, but it's interesting. And the competitive system right now is kind of inflated a lot because they inflated numbers of people. So we're currently just waiting for the system rework.
Yeah, and I I found that transition interesting as well. I mean, obviously, my extent of knowledge in Overwatch has never been crazy. It's always been a back burner type of game. I find it a very unique game and a very interesting one, but like I have seen that shift from we have to very heavily focus on the team and how the team plays together compared to now where it I've seen you personally just simply win a game because you just felt like it.
Hmm.
You felt like playing better today and you could just win. And I don't know how like it doesn't feel right almost. It doesn't feel like Overwatch.
Yeah, it's been a big discourse about people. I think I've seen about 20 posts a day. Where's 6v6? Where's 6v6? And I enjoyed 6v6, but personally, I kind of think 5v5 is kind of just more enjoyable. I think you, as a player, have more impact,
Yeah.
and you can actually feel like you're doing something. So I'm not totally mad by this 6v6 to 5v5, but I understand why people are upset.
Yeah. Okay, so you very lightly mentioned it. How did you find Lebanon Valley to begin with?
I looked up colleges like in a certain vicinity, and that was kind of my go-to. I was like, oh,
Hmm.
let's see what colleges, and I was not an SAT kid,
Neither was
so
I.
so I didn't take the SATs, and I
Yeah.
was like, this college doesn't require it, so I was like, I'll go here.
um, so was esports a thing for you when you were looking at colleges, or was that just like a back burner thought?
It wasn't a big priority for me. I was kind of just looking for a place with something I was interested in, like any major wise I was interested in, and then esports was kind of a secondary thing. And because I competed in Overwatch One, but not like to a hard extent. I would just scrim. So I was like, oh, the Overwatch like competitive scene would be pretty cool to get into, and then this school has it. So I was like, okay,
It just kind of matched out.
for sure.
I think that's happened with a lot of our players. Tyler and Dave both, the two that I had on the previous weeks, they also said very or had very similar stories. It just kind of happened.
Hmm.
I think that's kind of the beauty, especially of a school like us, where we're a D3 school, what 2,000 students now.
Yeah,
But when we got here, Ben's also a senior with me. Um, what 1,200,
12, 12 to
1,300,
1400. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's the beauty of it. We found an incredible team. I mean, you've been part of that team. You were part of that crazy team that
Hmm.
was really good for a long time, and we yet only have 1,400 students.
For sure. It's like a gem in the rocks. Like I think our program is like very good for creating like good team bonds. I think that's why I've actually stuck with the program for so long is because like this environment is just so healthy. Especially the Overwatch team was really healthy to play in.
Yeah. So let's not throw it back, but throw it back to last year. You guys had an incredible year. You had your best team. You had what was it? You,
Me,
Booper,
me,
Grok.
Booper, Grok, Fruggle Frog, and Grayson.
That was an insane team to watch. Very fun team to watch. You also had Brooke as your
Sub.
sub, correct?
Hmm.
That just talk me through that team and how you guys ended up doing what you did, especially in the spring.
So a lot of the team pivoted around me playing one tank and one tank only being Junker Queen, which was really fun. And the same thing for Grok. Grok was one of the best Ana players, so we would just kind of sit in tandem and play off of each other. And not to mention that Booper or Cooper was one of the best DPS players I've played with. Very good at projectile heroes. Very good in his class, and we picked up Fruggle Frog after the first game of the semester.
Yep.
Actually, he came through the Twitch chat and was interested, so that was awesome. And then Grayson's always been like that backbone support player. He makes funny jokes in game. He's kind of like the team's like morale booster,
Yeah.
and he's kind of like always just gonna be like he's looking out for everybody on the team. So it's really awesome. So our success was kind of just like gelled from so much chemistry over the years together. So it was really nice.
So I want to talk about. Well, I wanted to talk about the NACE title, but I think what I want to talk about more specifically is the Appalachian titles, the back-to-back Appalachian titles. How was the vibe not only going into that event because this was last spring. I actually was part. I was the host of the broadcast or the manager of the broadcast for the event, and It was incredible. I enjoyed the event a lot, but how was that for you as a player there?
That was my first LAN event. Um, so we arrive at this big mall and we're all hyped to play. You know, we sit down and play our first match and it's just incredible. I feel bad because I'm screaming my heart out at the enemy team who's right across from me,
Oh
and
yeah,
I'm like, oh, I'm sorry guys, like I didn't mean to do that, but
the
like
vibe gotcha.
it was incredible. I've never felt like happier in my esport career, to be honest.
Yeah, and not only did you guys win that, you went back to back in Appalachian. I think that's the biggest
Yeah.
accomplishment there too. And especially for that second one to come on land with that group, especially with what, three seniors, two seniors on the roster, that was something that was special. Just even to me, who was an outside person, I can't even.
Yeah, those three seniors were kind of fundamental to my like college life in general. So, getting them that invitational win or the Appalachian Championship was really pivotal for me. I was like, "Oh, these are my boys! Like, we're gonna get this win," and we did. It was awesome.
Yeah, and you guys had an incredible event too. I mean, if I remember correctly, the first round was like really quick 3-0, and then it went to straight to finals because it was just semis and then finals, right? Yeah. So it just was, in that final series, man. Last series of the day, I was dead tired. Elliot was there in the stands with us, and it was a battle.
It
Game
was
five. I
nail
think it went.
biter.
Did it go last point?
Yep.
I I was losing my mind. And
You and me
I
both.
I can play that video too that I have from the end. I'll play that here.
A lot of damage. It's fine. Are you holding on us? Nice, good kill. You guys are even. You guys are even.
And yeah, I thought that was just such an incredible moment, not only for you guys, but I think for our program too. Showing that us as a collective, like the MAC conference, they can sue me all they want. I don't care. The MAC conference can come together in esports, and that esports is just as prominent as anything else here. I'm not gonna throw shade at sports because I shouldn't, but it, I think that that should have, to me personally, been a message for Mac, and I think you could say the same, that it should be something that to be looked at.
I think esports has kind of been the under eye at this college for a long time, and when they see we're racking up all these wins, it's like, okay, wait, maybe we pay attention to this. Maybe we give a little bit more funding. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
maybe.
Maybe, surely.
And I think it should be on a bigger scale. That conversation should be happening too. But of course, that might be a bit a bit out of
Our reach.
our reach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even say my pay grade because it is out of my pay grade too. But it's just it's a whole.
Can of worms.
It is. It's a
Mhm.
large can of a lot of worms that need to be fed to different birds.
Mhm.
So, uh, I want to move away for a second from the esports side of things and talk about streaming. So, obviously, you average a good amount, especially for the size of creator you are. You put out a lot of content. How did you get into streaming?
So I dabbled in streaming before 2020. I'd stream maybe Fortnite for 1 to 2 people every 7 weeks, something like that. But then 2020 hit, everybody's home because of COVID. I'm like, you know what? I'll pick up the streaming thing. And I wasn't originally an Overwatch streamer. I was a Pokemon streamer. I did all that shiny hunting stuff. But then I was like, why am I not playing my main game on stream? And I just put Overwatch, joined a community of streamers, and just kind of accelerated. We also had this not stream team per se, but streamer group called Lightspeed, where my friend basically, from the transition from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, between those betas, we'd throw pugs together and just all hang out in a streamer space where it's all like-minded people, different perspectives and such, just having fun. And it was a really good transition to kind of join that community. Yeah, it's been, ever since I think 2020, it's been really good.
So you kind of mentioned a bit of it there. How did you manage to build the audience to the point where you're at? Because I know you do average a good bit, and not just in averages either. I've seen the numbers myself. It's pretty solid for someone of where you're at. So you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think one thing that's really important about Twitch, especially, is the discoverability is terrible. You need to either make connections or make outside content of it, and I started doing both. Um, I started connecting with a lot of players in the community, whether it was like people that were my rank, people that were higher than me, people that were lower than me. It's just kind of making like a friendship. I never like I'll never interact with somebody just for the transactional thing. Like I
Yeah.
want to be friends with you. So I've made a lot of my best friends from just Overwatch in general, and like meeting these streamers, and like they're just so awesome people. And those connections, they really help because they'll raid you, or their audience will be like, "Oh my gosh, wait, you stream," and then they'll come watch you. And then other outside content like TikTok's been huge. YouTube's a really good platform for like pushing out videos for yourself and making a name for yourself. So that's really been helpful. And then Twitter's Twitter, so it's just
Yeah.
gambling. So
It's literally just hoping you get any bit bigger there.
Mhm.
So I started the show off with this, but I want to expand on it a bit more. Um, so I asked like what are you up to now? But what is outside of esports, outside of streaming even? What's been going on there that's been happening, I should say.
Yeah, so I'm a senior digital communications major, communications concentration. So just pushing through capstone has been a really big part of my senior career, I guess.
Capstone has been wild.
Yeah, capstone's been really interesting. Taking all the courses I just need to finish up. I'm actually having a lot of fun taking other DCOM classes. Like editing and post production is really fun. Love that class. Love that professor. And then online marketing with clients always a good time. But honestly, I'm just looking towards the future of what I want to do. I'm currently an HR intern at HENR, or just Hershey. And then also, I'm looking into getting a master's in public relations with Syracuse.
So you want to? Are you? I guess I don't know. Are you allowed to talk more about the Syracuse thing, or
I'd be coming on Syracuse as a support player. More than anything, I would not be coaching. I could, but I'd be a support player for their team. So yeah.
sounds like a incredible time? Of course, I'm gonna throw the pictures in because I think they are just so fun and goofy. The orange just popping on Junker Queen for a little bit, for a round, having fun. I just love those pictures. I need more ways to use them. But um, so how did you build your connection with Syracuse? Because obviously that's a big school. There's a lot of obviously their team is pretty solid too. So you want to talk a bit about how that even came about?
Sure. So I know their coach very well. Coach Kobe is his name. He was actually kind of part of that streamer group I talked about that we made over the transition from Overwatch to Overwatch 2. So I played pugs with him a lot. We became really good friends. Still are like amazing friends, obviously. And last spring, me and my one other friend George kind of combined with Syracuse to make a team for Open Division. So I really got to know a lot of the boys there, and we kind of all meshed really well. And I was like, "But what if I went here for my masters?" And they were like, "But what if you did?" So it's been a huge if I'm going to go, what's in the future for me. But it's been a really good time.
It's great to hear. Of course, obviously we're both pretty much out of here at this point, and I've been looking back a lot on not only the program but myself and all of that sort of stuff. So I've been pretty intrigued by hearing all of the stories. I mean, I had Tyler on week one, and he expanded a lot on what he wants to do after, and getting to hear what you talk about, and I'll have a few more seniors on too. I find it interesting that how everyone's like the separate ways that everyone is realistically going, and we're all almost the same major too. Like
Yeah.
almost every senior we have this year is a Digicom major. So I've always I found it interesting to just kind of hear the stories, hear all of that sort of stuff. So I guess we did kind of talk about what's next. Do you have anything more recent coming up that you would be coming through?
Might start looking for a team for Overwatch CS. Probably that's about
Maybe,
it. Maybe,
maybe.
maybe if I'm feeling competitive, but I think right now coaching's kind of where I'm at just because of the time constraint with school,
Yeah.
internship, streaming. So I don't want to give my all to another team and then just kind of like not be able to do everything I can.
Yeah. So I thought I had a lot written down. This recording feels like it's only been like 20
Yeah, yeah.
minutes now. I didn't check the time or anything, but that's pretty much all I really had. Also, this felt a lot more structured. The way I took my notes this time around was a lot more
He's not an
structured
Overwatch girly.
than the yeah. I think that was part of it too. I mean, I did talk a lot about Rainbow Six. Also, with your teams not being active, I think obviously it doesn't that makes
Yeah,
it a bit more of a pain.
for sure.
So that, but I'm gonna close it out here. I don't want to obviously go make this an hour and a half long solely for the fact of it being an hour and a half long. Um, so that's pretty much gonna do it for us here. Do you have anything you want to say before we close out here?
Well, obviously, thank you, Harold, for putting this on. Really good host, really good roommate. But also thanks to the program for kind of cultivating this like environment for me. It's been really good for growing myself as a player and a person. And shout out Ian, our coach, Big Piscato.
I love
Actually,
Ian.
he's the goat. A lovely guy, lovely coach. Overall, just really good person. And yeah.
One more thing for you before I just end the video here. What are your socials? Both your social media and like your YouTube, your Twitch, all of that. Shout outs before we.
You'll find me everywhere at Bdawg on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, every platform on Bdawg. So yeah, I'll be there.
Hey, for those watching, it's right there. Just add OW to the end. For those listening, BDAWGOW on pretty much every platform, right?
Hmm.
So, thank you, Ben, for coming on. Again, I'm pretty sure this is really short. This felt like 20 minutes. Maybe I'll look back at the recording. It's like 45, and I'll be like, oh, didn't know that. Um, but follow us on YouTube or Twitter and Instagram at LVC_esports on both those platforms. Follow us or subscribe to us here on YouTube. If you're watching this version of the video, then just go down below, hit the subscribe button. We'll be putting these out every single week until the end of the semester when I graduate. Also, if you are just listening here on Spotify, don't follow this account. I mean, you can if you want. It's my personal account, so I'm not gonna post like music or anything. And after I graduate, I'm uncertain about the future there. But do go subscribe to us on YouTube if you are listening. It's youtube.com/@ you have to use the @ symbol in the search bar at LVC Esports, and you'll get directly to our channel. Subscribe there. We're going to be putting out clips, hopefully putting out clips when our season starts on Monday and Tuesday, and we'll be obviously putting out the weekly show. So thank you guys all for watching. It means the world to me. It truly, truly does. You'll hear more about that over the coming months, and especially in probably April when I start going on talks on my own. But yeah, that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, everyone.